All right, so I am currently trading YJ. This thing is moving like crazy. I already had a couple great trades on this. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to take this big of a position, but we'll see if the order fills anyways. YJ is definitely on the move. I know my hair looks crazy. Where's my... So we'll see if this next order fills, and then we'll talk about what's going on here. Really, all I need to tell you about this, oh God, there we go, is that it's Chinese. That's all you need to know. It's Chinese, and Chinese stocks do this. There is no catalyst on this stock. And actually, I was going to get in, but I think I'm going to hold off because, oh, I guess my order filled already. It's too late. Let me see where I'm at here. I do think, oh, dang, I wish I hadn't taken that order, because as I'm looking at the chart, I'm like, you know what? This is about to have a pretty big pullback, I think. So if I get a little bit in profit, I'm probably going to get out here because I did take a larger position than I wanted. And let's do a sell order. We're actually going to do the majority of the position. Try to get in a little bit more on a dip because it is really up. So YJ started the move this morning at 175, currently at $6 or $5.44. The high was $6.13. So I went back and checked some levels on the stock. Once it had that break of 264, it really got going. It broke the level 417, 479. The next level I see is $11. So not saying, you know, I'm never saying for sure it's going to get to that level, but it could. $11 and then $13.95. So it's already broken $5, which is a pretty big psychological level. $6.13 was the high. So I would hold off on getting into this for a couple more minutes. It is on a dip right now. Let me look at the 1 minute chart. I'm trying to see, okay, it's kind of bouncing off the 20 EMA on the 1 minute chart. So it could do a pullback to like 475. Or it might not pull back at all if it's getting a lot of volume and people are noticing it. It is really, I think, the biggest mover right now. So I did take a little bit too big of a position. So once it comes up a little bit here, then I'm gonna get out and just keep that little position to see if it comes up a little bit more. I've got some other stuff popping up on my scanner, but I'm having a hard time taking my eyes off of this. I would say that today, I always try to rate the trading day on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm sorry, I know my hair looks crazy right now. Oops. Oh, what did I just do? Okay. Oh, I didn't realize I had that setting on there before. Okay, let me change this. There we go. Okay. So if you're trading anything, you let me know. Okay, it's going. YJ. Here we go. I am going to... Oh, it just got rejected so quickly. It's really bouncing around. What was that high? 589. All right, well, I don't know. I'm not feeling very confident about this right now. So I'm thinking... Oh, I did close the majority of my position there. That was good. So it's only a small position I have open right now. Okay, let me take a look at this again. Things are moving quickly, so I will check the chat when I get a chance. Right now I am trying to see what YJ is doing here. What are we doing here? Let me put another sell order in. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's see, we'll put it at, yeah, sure, just some random number. That works. Okay. Okay, so YJ is kind of the big mover. Let me check the chat here. Good morning, Ben. Satish, welcome everybody. Oh, Tom loves my voice. From Ipswich. Huh, never heard of that. It has a ring to it. And I am well aware that my hair looks crazy right now. It'll look better once I take it down. It always looks crazy when I have it up, when I've been wearing it curly. Okay, where's my mirror? Let's put a little makeup on. And let me tell you about YJ while I'm doing that. YJ is a Chinese piece of crap. It's on a little bit of a pullback right now. I really thought it was going to pull back more than this, to be honest with you. So that's actually good that it's not pulling back more. Like I said, 20 EMA on the 1 minute chart is 495. The low of this pullback was 509. So it's pretty close. But it's good that it's not pulling back further than this. If it breaks the 20 EMA, then I'll get out. That's my plan. That's me thinking out loud. YJ. Alwyn liked the chat. Thank you for that. Okay, YJ says at 7:30 this morning, it had speculative momentum driving this 49% pre-market surge, which is, and there's no fresh news. So no news, Chinese stock, speculative. So that means that we don't sit around in this thing because it could dump at any moment. So I am kind of more scalping. It has a 2.55 million share float with a 0.83% short float. And as I mentioned, it is based in China and therefore sketchy. But it is holding that 20 EMA. I gotta say, what's this dip here that we got? 507. I think the lowest the dip is gonna go now that 20 EMA is reading 498 would be the lowest. If it breaks that 498, then I wouldn't recommend sticking around. But overall, the chart looks pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give today's trading day, we're gonna go 5.5 because YJ, this has been a nice stock to trade. Besides the fact that it's China, the chart has been very predictable, I would say, and I like that. I don't like it when they're bouncing all over the place and you can't predict anything. But this chart is pretty solid, and I like that. I like that about it. Tree Crew says, there sure is a lot of beta men in here, huh? I like watching you talk shit to them. The only people I really talk shit to are the trolls, first of all. My channel is pretty much all beta men, considering I'm a dominatrix. So yes, my channel is obviously mostly... Tree Crew is going to give the trading morning a 4. Are you a trader? Do you have any reason that you want to give it that? What is your reasoning? YJ is Chinese. Yes, it is. Hello, Andrew. Let me go back to that 20 EMA. What's the low? 507 was the low. It's really tapping that thing, isn't it? Tap, tap. All right, what else? What else? TNON. Actually, no, we're going to talk about that first. And then I also want to talk about the stocks from yesterday. I'll get around to doing my makeup at some point. It's not really a priority right now. Making money is always the priority. Well, not always, but right now it is. TNON has been bouncing off this little trend line that I drew. Not really necessarily, oops, an EMA, but it did have a low recently of 1027, but it's just been kind of a slow grinder and it's boring. I don't like boring stocks, you know? I don't like boring stocks. Good morning, Magooch. Tree Crew says, I just like the number 4, and you spelled 4 wrong. Okay. Well, lovely. Where is my... And I'll pick it up with my feet. You know, I was also thinking, you know, I don't really invest stocks at this point in time. But I was, you know, I talked about on my political channel what's going on with AI and robotics right now. They are expecting very big changes in the world in the next year to year and a half when it comes to AI and robotics. A lot of people are not paying attention to what's going on with that. And it's going to be affecting the economy all over the world, basically, is what they're saying. That's what all the nerds are saying. And, you know, I just go by what people who are smarter than me say. And that's what all the nerds are saying. They're expressing some concerns about AI and basically telling us how robots are going to be taking all the jobs. Okay, YJ just broke the EMA, and I don't like that. I don't like that. So I'm going to remove myself from this situation. I'm going to get out of it. I'm closing my position. I made a lot of money on this stock. I'm losing $15 right now. I think I'll live. It was a very tiny position just to see if it started getting crazy. So I am out for now because I don't like that it broke that 20 EMA. No, I don't like it. So it could be headed down from here. We'll see what happens. Mr. Ronan says, hi, goddess. I'm Sarah. I'm the submissive. Okay, well, if you would like to do a session or engage, you know, serve me, then you can always send my tribute and email me. That's how it works. You know that. And I'll just remind everybody, because I did have somebody who participates in the comments here regularly on the channel who emailed me yesterday with a very long email with a ton of pictures. I didn't read a word of your email, okay? I make it very clear that I have an initial tribute that is required for all communication. If you take the time to email me and send me a bunch of fucking pictures, I'm not gonna even look at it. So just letting you know, it's, you know, honestly very disrespectful. Somebody that is on my channel all the time, you know how I operate, like, what the fuck are you doing? It just makes you look bad. Sorry, I'm just putting my nose ring in here. There we go. Tap, tap. All right, let's do some makeup. I can maybe understand how somebody who is brand new to the channel might think it's okay to email me without tribute, but this person's been on the channel for a long time. He knows better. Let's turn the fan on, and I'm getting hot. Makeup time, and I did do my hair curly yesterday. That's why it's in this weird pile on my head, as you can see. But it should look good once I take it down. I have to wear it like this so it doesn't stretch out the curl. Oh, oops, just made a mess. Okay, so we were talking about AI and robotics. So I went and looked up some companies that might be worth looking into if you are paying attention to what's going on and you might want to make investments. And I'm not giving any formal financial advice. I'm not qualified to do that. But I'm just saying, if you want to go check these stocks out, you do it. It might be worth a look. YJ is coming back up. It is having a little surge. It went right back above that EMA, which is another good sign. So I did sell. I don't have any open positions right now. What else is moving? Ooh, IPST. Let's take a look at that because that was going crazy after hours yesterday. IPST. And we will do some of this. Oh my goodness. I gotta pull it up on this chart. IPST, let me look. Now I did mention TNON. I think that one maybe had some news, and I've talked about TNON a couple times in the past. If you recall, this is the one that I saw go from $4 to over $200 in like 5 minutes one morning at 4 a.m. I still haven't seen a move quite like that since then. It was pretty crazy. So it has the ability to move. IPST has been quite the mover the past few days. It was going crazy in after hours yesterday after a pullback. This thing started, when was this? On Friday last week, so almost a week ago. It was at like $1.95. Yesterday during the day, it reached a high of $25, had a pullback to around $12.50. It moved up a little bit and then another pullback to like $12.50-ish. And now it's at $16.36. Yesterday in after hours, it went to $17.47 and then had that pullback. So the high today is $17.35. So if this breaks $17.50, I think we could see another significant move up, is what I'm getting at. That's IPST. And I don't remember, I know I probably looked it up yesterday, but I don't remember what the deal is right off the top of my head. So we'll take a look at that. EHGO just popped up on my scanner. I'm trying to remember if I did a trade on that one this morning. It wasn't too interesting to me. But I definitely think IPST and YJ are ones to watch right now. And, you know, if you don't mind a slow grinder, then you can check out TNON. It's just not, I find it boring. It's boring. Let me check the chat. I do not like to be called mommy. You can call me goddess. If you want to serve me, you can email me. Yes, all my links are in my bio. Just a reminder, if you have someone commenting, responding to your comments in my chat or on any of my social media, claiming to be me and giving you a WhatsApp number, that is a scammer. I do not have WhatsApp. I will never contact you or tell you to contact me on WhatsApp. Just a reminder. I'm just periodically going to point that out. Has anybody gotten any comments like that recently? I know a few weeks ago the person was on the prowl. I hope you guys know better than to give money to scammers. Don't do that. I will never reach out to you and ask you for money, just so you know. If you want to serve me, you have to reach out to me. You have to take the initiative. I don't have the time to sit there and chase people down. That's not how I work. All right, let's do a little bronzer stuff. So yes, we did anybody watch the travel video that I posted? I know a couple of you watched the premiere. What is your feedback? I was a little disappointed at the volume. When I played the volume, when I was editing the video, it was fine. And I think I even uploaded it to YouTube and watched it before I made it live, but for some reason the volume was a lot lower when I was watching it that last time. So I don't know why that is. But you let me know if you watched the video what your thoughts are on it. I'm curious. It took me a very long time to edit. Andrew was in it. Just checking the chat. Let's see what else. EHGO, IPST. Nothing's quite, wait, let me check EHGO. I pulled it up, but then I didn't look at it. All right. EHGO. Let's see. I shall go. 5-minute chart. And this had a pretty big rejection at 321. It had rejections at 248 a couple times, but once it broke that level, it had a nice little move up from 248 to 321. So, but it got rejected. So it's possible that leads me to think that maybe this stock is getting shorted. That's just my theory. Based on that price action, how it goes up and then it gets rejected so hard like that usually means it's being shorted, would be my theory. Put a little blush on and then we'll take the hair down and maybe do some walking today. I went for a swim yesterday. It was good, except I forgot, or my nose plug broke. So I had a bunch of chlorine in my nose, and that's not a good feeling. So luckily I have an extra one, and I have it prepared for next week. Andrew says he enjoyed it. He's wondering how the parents took it. Well, look, you know, I've told you guys that I'm very open with my parents. They know everything that I do, even though they may not like some of it, and that's fine. I don't care. They liked it for the most part. Obviously, I don't think they were too thrilled about the little clips that I put in there of the domination. I thought it was hilarious. Andrew, what did you think of your clip? I just very nonchalantly said, and then I did some dog training. And there's Andrew. That was funny. I was laughing. And I did get a little nerdy with the history. Let me know in the chat if that was maybe a little bit too much. I didn't mean to turn it into an educational video. I just got a little excited. All right. Yeah. We'll curl. Oops. Get that back. Nothing's on my scanner right now. What time is it? 8:52? Huh. Usually more things are moving at this time of day. And then it slows down right before the open. So nothing's really moving right now. I'm okay with it. It's giving me a chance to do my makeup. And I already made quite a bit of money this morning on YJ. Somebody's asking if I have an email. My email is fiorethegoddess@gmail.com. But just a reminder that I have a $50 initial tribute. I have links in my bio. You can send super chats here. And if you have not sent my initial tribute, you will not be getting a response from me. If I do respond to you, the only thing I say will be to send the tribute. So don't waste your time or my time emailing me unless you're willing to approach properly. Andrew said he was laughing. I don't know that I saw my dad's face when he saw it, but I imagine he was probably rolling his eyes. He was probably rolling his eyes. EHGO and IPST just popped up on my scanner. I don't know why, because they're not moving. All right, so that's just good enough for makeup. It's good enough. And all right, let's see how the hair is looking today. Let's check it out. Where do I start here? Oh. Looks very voluminous. Dang, most of the curls came out. That's the problem, because my hair is kind of wavy. So that's why I had it up in that weird little style, because I was trying to preserve the curl, but it didn't work. I don't have super curly hair. It's just more of a wave. So a lot of times they stretch out. Oh well, I tried. I tried. It looked good yesterday. Excuse me. Just gonna do a little. What? Andrew says, what's the green shampoo comments? I'm not sure. Friendly says Andrew is aiming for King of All Sims. He'll admit that. Yeah. He's not going to deny that. For sure. Just a reminder that super chats are on if you would like to support the channel and my time streaming, or if you want your comment to get priority, it'll pop up in a block. Also, just a reminder that if you are typing a whole paragraph in the chat, I probably won't read it. This is not where we have like a massive conversation about your problems. That's not what we're here for. Miss Baked Bean says, do you have an email that I could do because I've always wanted to see my husband get absolutely humiliated by a goddess or mistress? I'm not opposed to that, but I will just remind you that everything that I do is consensual, and I'm only going to humiliate someone if they're consenting to it. I don't humiliate people if it's not consensual, just so you know. Ashish asks, what's your WhatsApp number? I do not have WhatsApp. If you have somebody claiming to be me, telling you to reach out to me by WhatsApp, I do not have WhatsApp. That is a scammer. Shadow says, show your feet. If you would like to do a session where I can show my feet to you, then you can approach properly by sending my tribute and emailing me. Let me get rid of this person. Just a reminder to keep your comments respectful. If you're here to ask questions, talk about stocks, ask questions about BDSM, I'm here for that. Anything else, you can probably take somewhere else. GR says, Goddess, you look absolutely funny. Stunning. Thank you for that. Miss Baked Beans says that, do I have an email? Yes. I just gave it to you. It's fiorethegoddess@gmail.com. Ashish, if you would like to do a video call, I prefer sessions first. I don't just like video calling random people usually. I know many people do that. That's not really my thing. Again, if you want to have a conversation about serving or doing any type of session, you can email me or reach out to me on my social media. All my links are in my bio, and my initial tribute is $50. I will not respond to any emails or DMs or anything without tribute. Okay, EHGO is moving a little bit. Like I said, it's got to break this 321. Let's look at EHGO, the background here a little bit. I haven't given up on YJ, but it's definitely in a pullback, and we have to remember that it's Chinese and it's not popped up on any news. So it does look like it's broken trend really though, looking at this. Let me see what the I think 1 minute chart is a little bit easier. Excuse me, I think I'm getting hiccups. To draw a trend line here. Drawing a trend line. Yeah, YJ has definitely broken the trend. So I don't know that I will be making another trade on this. Here's a little tidbit if you're new to trading. It is always better to trade the first part of a move while it's still going up rather than when it has a major pullback and then trying to trade it again. That's usually, I mean, sometimes you can still make money, but it's a lot harder. So it's always better to try to trade the initial move than after something has moved already. Just saying. EHGO. Let me give you some info. And it is 9 o'clock. We've got a half hour till the market opens. 2.81 million share float. I should probably write this down. And then we are going to talk about robotics. I got distracted. It doesn't take much, as we all know. 2.81 million share float. 6.27% short float. Where is this based? Out of China. More China crap. It did have some news at 6:30 this morning, or 7, 6:30 or 7. I'm guessing 6:30, and then this one came out later. It says that it signs an exclusive distribution pact with Zhongshan Senwai for compatible printing consumables in North America. Okay, so they've got news. At least it has that going for it. But I do, and it does have that 6% short float, which is probably what I'm seeing. It did look like it was getting shorted to me this morning. So let's look at the chart and go back and look at some previous levels. Okay, this had a move up to almost $5, $4.97. When was that? In July. But it had a very hard rejection. And this is Chinese, so not surprised. I always say with Chinese stocks, you can make a lot of money. I made good money on YJ this morning, but you know, when they pull back, they can pull back drastically. I've seen them drop 90%. So again, this is why we trade on the upside and then leave the downside once it goes down alone. Leave it alone, you know? Gotta be careful, especially with Chinese. I'm not saying I never trade Chinese. I'm just a lot more cautious and I approach it differently. So the high this morning was 329. Pre-market high, 329. So that's not making me feel super confident, considering that the recent high was 497. The pre-market high is 329. So what, we take a trade, it breaks 329 to hopefully go to 497. That's not really that exciting to me. So the likelihood that I trade this is slim. Shadow says, what should I do to show your feet? What you should do is send my initial tribute and schedule a session. If you ask again, I'm going to put you in a timeout because I've already told you this twice and you keep asking the same question. Ashish is claiming to have paid the $50. Where did you send it? Because I didn't see any notifications come through. And just FYI, if you are claiming to send my initial tribute and you're lying about it, not only will I know, but I will block you from all communication with me because that is despicable behavior. I'm not stupid, just so you know. You think you're the first person who's lied about sending tribute? You think I just believe anybody who says they sent me money? Do I look stupid? I'm just wondering, because I'm not. What the hell, Andrew? He says, was saying when you took your hair down, it reminded me of a Garnier Fructis shampoo commercial. The fuck? That's funny. Hello, Luke. And Stefan. I've never seen Stefan spelled like that. What country are you from? I'm just curious. Or is that mean something else? TNON is coming back up. But like I said, this one's too slow for me. Unless it picks up a little bit, it's boring. It's bouncing off this trend line at like 1027 and then reaching a high of like 1116. That's like a 10% move. I'll pass. That's boring. I prefer at least 20, you know, I like 100% moves, okay? I'm not really here for a 10% move. That's boring, you know? Whales, okay. Interesting. Peter says, Goddess, you are so gorgeous. Thank you for that. Miss Baked Beans, I don't really know what you're talking about. If you want to discuss this, you can send my initial tribute. I'm not going to have a whole conversation about what a session looks like right here. I mean, I think you can get enough of an idea from my channel and my content. Good morning, William. How am I doing? I'm doing very well because I made some good money this morning on YJ. I'm here to make more money, but I need shit to move. Okay, who sent what? Andrew. And Andrew, you should all thank him because he just sent a tribute of $50, I will continue streaming. The rest of you, well. Oh, Shadow says, I have not money. Please show your feet. Why would I do that for nothing? Why do you think that you're entitled for me to do something for you when you haven't done anything for me? And I've told you twice that you can do a session. You're ignoring me, so I'm going to ignore you. Bye. Brian says, you look so damn hot. Love you first sight. Well, we'll see if he proposes marriage by the end of the day. Wouldn't be the first time. My hair is very bushy today. It looked so good yesterday. I'm really disappointed. What is that? Piece of fuzz. We have one nice curl here. The rest is shit. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it back up. I'm a little disappointed. It looked so good yesterday. The curl falls out so easily. That's something I'm still working on. It's a process. There. We do a little ponytail. What's YJ? YJ is a stock ticker. It's a Chinese stock. We talk about stocks in the morning on this channel. Okay. Andrew says, please keep me in your thoughts. Nothing's wrong. I just want you to think about me. Okay. All right, what else do we have? Okay, I wanted to talk about some robotic stocks. So this is a list that I drew up, but I want to find out a little bit more about each of these companies, and I also want to check the charts. That's what we're going to do today. Real quick though, MSS is on the scanner, so I'm going to check that out. And we just had a couple other ones pop up as well. MSS, I need a bigger chart. MSS. So when I'm looking at charts, the time frames that I'm usually looking at are, especially because I am usually looking for quick trades, I number one check a 1 minute chart just to see how it's moving in the moment. And then I usually go to a 5 minute and then a 15-minute chart. And if I'm looking for previous levels, I go to the 4-hour chart, in case you're wondering. MSS had a pop early this morning to $2.88 and then steadily declined all the way to a low of 167. It's now at 210. It's had a steady incline since that, but it is approaching VWAP, and a lot of times when something's pulled back like this, it'll get to VWAP and then bounce off of it. So if it reclaimed VWAP, if it closed above VWAP, then it might be worth a trade. But again, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying trading on after the initial move has happened. This already had the initial pop right at 4 a.m. and then pulled back all this way. So the likelihood that it's going to go back up is kind of makes it more tricky. Philip says, could you elaborate? I've already elaborated on it. Do you have a specific question? What is your question? He asked me what YJ is, and I told him it's a stock ticker. It's a Chinese stock. Is there any other specific information that you need? Because I already answered your question. Where am I from? 1985 Hot Rod, hello to you. I currently live in Florida, but I've lived in many places. YJ is coming back up. Let me go back to that chart. Okay, let me continue my trend line here a little bit longer. Hold on, let me adjust. of hard to, the trend line kind of changed a little bit as it was moving. So it's hard to draw a solid line on this thing. But I think that's mostly it. Okay. So YJ is currently at 510. It had a pullback from 526 and then from 523. So I would say it has to break 526. But then it's got this trend line that it might bounce off of. So this is another tricky trade. Again, this is one that's already made a big move. It's pulled back below the trend line. So it's going to be hard to really see any more movement with this. I would prefer to look at something that hasn't had initial move. So it did just break 520. What did I say? 526. It's a 545. It's moving very quickly. Holy crap. It's up to $6.17. Holy crap. Yeah, this thing just broke the pre-market high. That was a massive move out of nowhere. Pre-market high was 613. The high just now is 627. So I would now say that this is a good trade. So I'm going to get in on a pullback, which is having right now. Hopefully I can get in. That was a very fast move. That happened very quickly. Like I said, Chinese stocks can be very unpredictable. So I'm trying to get in on a good pullback. I don't want to get in too high. If I don't get in, it's not the end of the world. So it's more important to get a good price than to get in too high. So I did just open a new position in YJ since it did break the pre-market high. The levels, like I mentioned on this one before, we're at a high right now of 627. It has a big gap between $4.79 and $11. So this thing, $10 is a huge psychological level. So I could see this thing going to $10 and getting rejected. Or, I mean, there have been stocks that have been halting up like crazy and just going nuts. So anything could really happen with this one. And it is Chinese, so it's possible it could just drop 90% out of nowhere. We don't know. What is my ethnicity? I'm half Italian and half German. All right, so high of 627. I think what I'm going to do is take a little chunk out right before that level. I'm going to say 624. And then wait and see if it moves higher. I do think it's going to move higher after that big move like that, but nothing is ever for sure. And so I tend to take profit along the way instead of waiting for a big move, and maybe it doesn't get where I think it's going to go, and then I lose out when I could have taken some profit. Taking profit is important. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, it is doing a little pullback right now. 551 is the low currently. That was such a massive move, so quick out of nowhere. Welcome to China. You know. What was I saying? Robotics companies. Let's talk about it. Robotics companies I'm looking at are CCXI, Churchill Capital Corporation. So these are not day trades. These would be, well, I guess they could be. If there's robotics news, they could move probably quickly, but these probably do not fit my normal stocks that I trade as far as the float and everything else. These are more, I would say these would be more investments or swing trade. And they might have a good day trade every once in a while. CCXI, Churchill Capital, 38 million share float, 5.4% short float. This has a 918 million market cap, and it is based in New York. The recent news on this was on July 23rd. It says Agility Robotics strengthens executive leadership team with appointment of Michael Beer as chief officer. Why is that showing up for this company? Churchill Capital is a blank check company. It was formed for the purpose of effecting a merger. And I guess, let me see. I think I have a little bit more information on this stock. Okay. Let's see what else I can tell you about it. So the other reason that I think that some of these robotics companies could be moving is because there was a company called Unitree. It's a Chinese company and it's on the Chinese market. You can't trade it on the US market, but it popped up 542%, I believe, yesterday. Yes. So that's why I'm thinking that some of these could be moving. Let's pull them up. CCXI. Okay. This is very light volume. This is not really moving very much. I was thinking that some of these might be having sympathy plays. Either way, these could be, like I said, these are probably more like long-term trades, either a swing trade or an investment, or, oh, my phone's about to die. But there could also be some day trades here with that Chinese company Unitree moving. I just think a lot of people aren't really paying attention to how big robotics could be in the next year or so. That's my thought. Where is my cord? Aha. Cord. All right. 917. Let me check the chat. Philip says, what would help is if you showed your screen. Well, I've done that before and nobody in the chat really seemed too keen on it. And I get a lot less views when I screen share. I'm not opposed to it if we get more people who want to trade with me and actually want to see, but I also am looking at 3 different monitors, so it'll be hard to share a screen looking at 3 monitors. Yes, exactly. Do I not charge my phones at night? Okay, so, well, what happened was I'm actually looking at a screenshot, and on the screenshot, my phone was dead, and then I just realized that it actually is charged. So, whatever. Let's move along. All right, so CCXI doesn't really have any movement. Let's see. I'm just gonna go through this list real quick and see if anything. No, nothing's really moving. I would have thought there would have been more sympathy plays, and a sympathy play is when one stock is moving, so other stocks in that same category will also make moves. It happens a lot. So I'm just going through this list to see if anything is moving. I don't trade Tesla. That's definitely more of a long-term trade. 9:19, we have 10 minutes until the market opens. YJ is coming back up, so I might take a break from looking at the robotics companies and look at YJ a little bit more. Again, the pre-market high now is 627, and there is a big gap to fill to $11. So why do I feel like this thing could go crazy once the market opens? Oh, maybe because it's up like, I don't know, 500%. This move started at $1.75 this morning, and this stock is at $5.70 currently, but it is Chinese. So it is 9:20. Let me see how big my position is right now in this thing. I've got a pretty large position and I don't really like to hold over to market open. I do think this thing could still go, but it's risky, especially since it's up so much. Usually when a stock is up like this, there's going to be a lot of people taking profit right when the market opens. So I will be taking the majority of my position out here in the next few minutes. Hopefully we can get a little bit more of a move. I'm gonna put an order right there. And I also could almost guarantee you that this thing is gonna halt left and right because it started at such a small amount, $1.75, and it's up so much. The halt levels are based on like I think the previous day of the stock price. So when you have something that was very cheap the day before and then it goes up huge like this, then it's going to start halting left and right when the market opens. And trading halts can be very dangerous. Very dangerous. It can gap up quickly, it can gap down quickly. A lot of times a stock will halt up and then immediately halt down. Sometimes it'll gap up and halt up crazy and you'll make a shit ton of money, but very risky. That, a lot of people say day trading is gambling. And for the most part, it's not, because you're going off levels, you're looking at chart patterns, you have like a very educated guess that you're doing of where the stock price is going to go. But really, when a stock starts halting a lot, then I would say that it is essentially gambling. Because it gets crazy. It gets real crazy. All right, so can we get a little higher here? Just a little smidge. Go on then. Fill my order. Okay, so I just closed at least half my position. We're having a nice little spike up, so I'm gonna take another chunk out. I was hoping that it would have more of a move before the market opened, but that's okay. I'll take any move. There we go. I just took another chunk out. So now I have a very small position. Do I leave the small position open? Oh, now it's really surging up. All right, I'm just going to close it since we're getting a nice big pop here. There we go. Yeah, this thing is bouncing all over the place. It's going to halt like crazy when the market opens, I can tell you that. All right, and then it just dropped down. So I'm glad I got out. I am kind of considering taking a small position just to see what it does when the market opens. But again, it would be essentially gambling because it is going to halt. It's going to halt. I know it in my bones. Let's have some peach tea. Hello, Tango. Lunfardo. That's an interesting word. What do I think about Samsung? It's not a stock I trade. I trade mostly low float momentum stocks. That's my thing. So if you're talking about big companies, I don't usually trade those. And I don't invest at this time. Maybe eventually, but not right now. If I was going to invest, I would probably be buying some stocks in these robotics companies, because I do think that's going to explode the next year. Big time. YJ is still moving up, but I am out of it because I'm playing it safe. And we've got 6 minutes until the market opens. We'll talk a little bit more about robotics companies. Jamie says, how much did I make? How much did I make what? What's the question? Just a reminder to not spam the chat if you want to discuss stocks or you want to talk about financial domination, if you want to get drained, if you're a submissive who wants to serve me, we can talk about any of those things. But if you're here to promote a political candidate or, just get attention or say rude shit, then you're just gonna be banned from the channel. So with this trade, what am I working now? Okay. YJ, I'll show you what I made on YJ. hold on, history, view P&L. Okay, this is how much I made on YJ, $346. Are you happy? And what percentage? I wanted to know the percentage. I never know exactly where to find that in here. I want to know what percentage I made. That's what really matters. View P&L. Okay. I want, okay. Realized, no. Let me go back here. I'm trying to see what the percentage is that I made, like, hold on. Symbol. P&E, that's not what I wanted. Account, okay. Here. I don't know how to find the percent. It's probably in here somewhere. I just don't know where. All right, we have 4 minutes until the market opens. I'm gonna try one more time to find this. I feel like it should be on the screen somewhere, but I'm just not seeing it. Realized, no. Okay, well, I can't tell you what the percentage is because I don't know how to find it. Some random ass shit in the chat right now. Tango says, people will always spam, unfortunately. No shit. I'm not new to the internet. I just I like to give people the opportunity to know that I actually do check the chat. I know I guess a lot of streamers don't check their chat, but I do interact with my chat a lot. So I try to give people the opportunity to not spam. And, you know, I know they're probably going to do it anyways, but it's fine. Then they just get banned and I don't even read their shit. It's fine. Nigel says, good morning, beautiful. I'm leaving for New York City. Well, I don't know who you are, but I hope you have a wonderful trip. Khalid is 2 seconds away from getting timed out for spamming repeatedly. Philip is shocked that I said no shit. I feel like I say no shit every day. You're obviously new here. Oh. Viking, good morning to you from Huntington Beach. I've been there. I used to live in California for about 13 years. I do love it. Not so much a fan of LA, but Huntington Beach is nice. TGL just popped on my scanner. DAIC, PFSA. That one was moving like crazy yesterday. We didn't even have a chance to talk about the stocks that were moving yesterday in after hours. And one of the things I struggle with, and we're going to talk about that for a second before the market opens, and the reason that I don't make as much money as I should is I do struggle with over trading. And over trading means that maybe you had a couple good trades, but then you just keep trading, hoping to make more money, and then you end up losing what you made. So that happened to me yesterday, and I was very mad at myself. So it is something you have to keep in check. We have 28 seconds until the market opens. I'm just passing on my lessons. If you are someone who trades or wants to get into trading, hopefully you can not make the same mistakes that I did. Oop, what the hell just popped up on my computer? What the hell? Okay, so at market open, in 4 seconds, we're watching YJ, IPST, TNON, PFSA. FEMY, DAIC also popped up on my scanner. Mostly watching YJ. I am not in it because I do think this is going to start halting very quickly. I give it 2 minutes before it starts halting. I would be willing to put money on that bet. And I do think it's going to have a pullback. It might still go, but I definitely think it's going to have a big pullback before it starts going. If I had $1 for every time a fucking idiot says that day trading is like gambling, I would be fucking rich. Look, when people say that trading is gambling, I say this all the time. I've said this many, many times. You either are ignorant and don't know anything about trading, because then you would know that it's actually not gambling, or 2, you attempted trading and you failed and you're bitter about your failures, so you're trying to drag everybody else down. So, BG, share with the class, which one is it? Are you a failure, or did you, you're just an ignorant fuck? I'm curious. Yes, Philip, I do get some very strange comments in here all the time. BG says, I'm with Merrill Lynch. They trade my stocks with. Well, based on the fact that you can't even write a full sentence, I'm going to go with the fact that you're ignorant. I have been in the stock market since 2022, but you can't type a sentence correctly. So I'm still going to go with the fact that you're ignorant. And it's also interesting that you're saying it's like gambling, but you've been in the market since 2022. Okay. BT says, currently watching YJ, how do you know when to move in? Well, YJ is a very tricky stock. I don't know how long you've been watching so far this morning, but this is a Chinese stock. It's very risky. So I'm going to start with saying that. And I also mentioned that this had a major move this morning. It had a nice long uptrend and then it broke the trend. So it has currently broke the trend, and trading it at all is very risky at this point because number 1, it's Chinese, and number 2, it's broken the trend. They have a saying in trading, and the trend is your friend. If you're trying to trade against the trend, then that's not really a smart thing to do. So I am not trading YJ. I'm watching it. Now, if it were to break the trend line up, this trend line that I drew, okay, I'll just turn you around so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is a 1-minute chart. Usually I don't draw trend lines on the 1-minute chart, but you can kind of see this blue line right here I drew, okay? Because I'm touching the bottom of the lows, and it's not going to be exact because there are some that dipped below the line, but you can see where it went up to pretty much the line and got rejected. It went up to the line and got rejected. So if I'm going to trade this stock, it would have to close a candle above this line. Then that would show strength, but it's all the way down here. These little lines here are all different things. So VWAP is a really important line. The blue line is VWAP, and then these are like VWAP bands. We don't worry about that. This is VWAP, 366 right here. This is VWAP. So if it falls below VWAP, like this is done. It's completely done. So it could like bounce off VWAP and then go back up to the trend line. So that's what I'm talking about. And that is why stock trading is not gambling, actually, because you're looking at a chart and you're going by certain lines, and everybody else is looking at similar lines and technical indicators. So Dirtbox says, who's Chinese? What's a 1-minute chart? Oh my God, I can't help you. Tango says, I have no clue about investing, to be honest with you. Okay. You don't have to. You can just sit here and chat about whatever. My main part of this channel is financial domination, BDSM. If there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to that, we are here for that as well. Andrew says, F, yeah, that was awesome. Thank you, seriously. Yeah, I mean, okay, you like that. I can keep going. Should I keep going? Andrew liked it, so I'm going to keep going. All right, here's another little lesson. Okay, so I go off, like I said, this right here, that says it's a 1 minute chart. I can change it to any of these, 5 minute chart, 15 minute chart. Those are usually what I do, or I can just type it in here. So I just type it, 5 minute chart. Okay, so this is a 5 minute chart, which means each one of these candles is 5 minutes. The red candles are bad. Green candles, good. Green candles mean it went up. This right here is volume. Andrew, we were talking about that the other day. That tells you how many shares are being traded per candle. So in this specific candle, where's the number? Oh, it's over here in the corner. In this specific candle, I go over here and I look at the volume was 523 shares per candle, per that little candle. So that volume right there is 523. That's a lot. You can see that's higher volume than this candle. You want to see green candles increasing in volume higher than the red candles. That's good. That's how you know if you were right here, this stock is probably going to continue up. And guess what? It sure did. This is called technical analysis. I'm reading the comments. Yes, Philip, you're getting it. Green, good. Red, bad. Good job. All right, what else is moving? DAIC. Let me see. Yum, yum. DAIC. Ugh. 42-cent stock. It's got high volume, but I don't like it. I'll show you. Okay, we'll just do this for a minute. We're just gonna turn, you know what? Can I put it on here? Yes, okay, so then I don't have to hold it. Okay, this is DAIC. It has high volume right here, but what the fuck is that? I don't like that. And it already had this like huge drop over here. That's a shitty looking chart. And all these like spotty little things mean it has no volume. Let's see. That's 1.2 thousand shares on a 40-cent stock. What is that, a few $100s? That means it has no volume. Andrew, that's what I was talking about the other day when you showed me the stock chart that you had. That stock had no volume. You don't want to trade something that has no volume because it's going to be very hard to get in and out and it's just not going to move. Look how boring that is. That's boring. And then what else is on my FEMY? Let's see what that one's. Okay, this looks better. This looks better. This is a 5 minute chart. So let's go to a 1 minute chart and see what it's doing more in the short term. Okay, so the blue line is VWAP. It did go below VWAP a little bit here, but then it went back up. It did break the pre-market high. This was, is at the top. 350 was the high there. So it did break it, but it didn't really go too much above there. And it has all these little wicks. These little lines at the top are called wicks. And that means it went up and then it went back down. So it didn't break through. It didn't continue going. When you see green candles, you want a nice big body like this. Wicks at the top or the bottom shows indecisiveness and that it could just go back down. Andrew says some of it is informative, yet the wording is above his head. Okay, well, I'm trying my best. I have a playlist on this channel called Day Trading for Beginners. And a lot of the videos are ones that I learned from. So yeah, and if you don't know what words I'm talking about, you can always just Google them. Okay, Sib didn't understand either. Well, I tried. You guys can just Google words that you don't understand. I was trying to explain candlesticks to you and what I'm talking about. It's a lot. Okay, there's a lot that goes into it. Jake says, I'm new here. Is this day trading? So my channel is about financial domination, but I day trade in the mornings. So I live stream here and I talk about the trades, and some people like that. And then we just talk about BDSM, and I have many submissives on my channel. Obviously that's the majority of my channel. So they come in and we chat. That's kind of how it goes. Good morning, Matt. You're late. Andrew says you did awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. FEMY is dumping. RDAC is another one. Let's see the RDAC. Rising Dragon. That sounds Chinese. Holy crap. All right, let me show you this one. Ah! Make sure I don't knock over my water. So lots of green candles. Green candles. Good, right? This stock, it's halted because there's no bid and ask price here. So I can go and check my halt checker. This is my halt checker, by the way, NASDAQtrader.com. And here's the ticker. It looks like TNON halted. It halted down. Actually, I'm looking at the chart. RDAC is the one that I'm looking at. It halted at 940. So it'll probably open up at 945 in a few minutes. This is probably TMI, and I know it's probably gonna be above your head, but the LUDP means it was volatility, means it was moving too quickly. So the exchange halted it. That's what happened. Let me do a 15-minute chart on this one. Okay, so we can see that the pre-market high was $21.23. This has made a move up from $6. That's almost a 4x move, which is a huge move. I usually try to trade stocks that are up at least 50 or 100%. So it came all the way down. So this was the initial move, right? And then it's coming all the way down. So it's sketchy to trade from here, but look, it still went up. Sometimes you just don't know. This is probably some Chinese crap. Let's go look it up. What did I say? RDAC. All right, this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking at, this is a motherfucker ad. Motherfucker. This is FinViz, where I find out all my information. RDAC had news at, well, it says at 8:30, thin float, volatility and retail momentum are driving the surge. It has a 2.46 million share float, 0.18% short float, and it is based in China, in case you couldn't tell by the name of Rising Dragon. That just sounds Chinese. There's YJ. So there's YJ with its trend line. It went up to the trend line, got rejected. It's holding VWAP. It could bounce off VWAP and then go all the way back up to the trend line. It could, but it's just not as likely. You're just much more likely, like this was an initial move and then it came down. So this is risky to trade here. But once it broke this level right here, once it broke here, look how high it went up. That would have been a good trade to trade. That is a breakout trade I often do, is a pre-market high, a break of the pre-market high. So this was the high. It broke through with all that big green candle right there. I like it. Increase in volume. That's a good sign. That would have been a great trade. So it broke through here, traded all the way up to there. That would have been a good trade. Sorry, I guess I was talking to myself there for a minute. Thank you for that. Sometimes I hit the mute button with my big finger. My apologies. I was talking about how Philip said a lot of my channel is Indian, and that is true. A lot of people in the chat here are Indian, but I was saying that actually the majority of my channel is from the United States because I can see the demographics and who's watching. And I said that a lot of the Indian people that come in the chat can be very demanding, and it's annoying. It's actually very obnoxious. I know that's a cultural thing, and maybe that flies in India, but that shit don't fly here. So if you're gonna be an entitled fuck and come in my chat and think that I owe you something, I don't. I don't owe you shit. You owe me, actually. Yeah. So how about that? All right. Should I walk on the treadmill today? I'm definitely gonna do it later. I'm feeling kind of lazy and tired. So I think I'll just walk later. That's my plan. Philip said, thank you, come again. What? What are you talking about? I didn't say that. And okay, looking through the chat here. Andrew, who are you talking to? Miri. Yeah, Miri is asking about a private session meetup for more experience. Are you down for that? And Andrew is telling you, if you send tribute an email, then you can book a private session. But obviously I'm not going to meet up with anybody in person for free. Like, I hope that's not what you're implying, because if that's your mentality, then you can get fucked. RDAC, holy crap, just popped up to $20.69, probably halted again. I should put that on my scanner here. It's probably too late. But the pre-market high is 21.23. So if it breaks that, this could still go. It is Chinese. Yeah, and some days this is how it is. Like, maybe it'll be all Chinese stocks moving today. Holy crap, though. This move, $12.80 to $20.69. I like it. Philip says, yeah, Nigel, I guess she didn't get it. I didn't see the joke. Just a reminder, I have super chats on. If you're so desperate for my attention and you want to make jokes, you can always accompany your comment with a super chat and I'll see it. If not, maybe I'll see your joke, maybe I won't. Sib wants to know if I practice mindfulness. Random. Oso says, I would love to be your houseboy to use how you see fit. Philip has no clue what submissive men are, beta men. Yes, there are, you may not understand if you're not into BDSM, but there are many men who would chomp at the bit to be my housemaid. He says houseboy. No, you would be my house bitch. If you're gonna be cleaning my house, look, you're gonna be wearing a frilly apron and fucking heels, and you're gonna look good when you do it. I don't have any random ass houseboys come in here looking all frumpy. Yes. Juice, watch yourself. Watch yourself. This is your warning. I do not like people making, objectifying me and have the ceiling fan on. So yeah, I'm in my sports bra. If you're gonna make comments about my body, I will remove you. I don't like it. Maybe some girls do. I don't like that. So just keep it to yourself. You can look, but just keep it to your fucking self. Best ever says no heels. It's not negotiable. What I say goes. If you're cleaning my house, I'm gonna put your ass in heels. You'll do it because I said so. Won't you? Andrew, would you wear heels for me? I'm just curious. And Stava says, yes, ma'am, he would. He would wear heels. See? Men will do whatever I tell them to. Certain men. And if they're not going to do what I tell them to, then they're not useful. Yes. Type a U in the chat if you are a useful man. And I guess you could type an L in the chat if you're just a loser. Kent says, WTF is wrong with this channel. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the channel or me as a person, but it is literally a financial dominatrix channel, so I don't know what you're expecting. See, look at all these useful men. OOS, Juice, Beta, B Steva, all useful. And Philip is just, he's confess. You know what, Philip? I think you're starting to get it. I think you're starting to get it. And Kent obviously has no idea what a fucking narcissist is. I encourage you to maybe Kent, you need to go Google narcissist versus dominatrix, because there's a difference. I love when people just throw the term narcissist around and you have no fucking clue what it means. And you're just showing everybody how ignorant you are. Philip says he's a big loser. Philip, I thought you were acting like you didn't know what submissive men are, but here you are confessing to the chat that you're a loser. Philip says real men don't listen to a woman like that. Type an R in the chat if you're a real man and you would listen to me. CISS moving. Okay, you guys are distracting me. You know what? I think I'm PMSing. You guys are getting me all worked up. Real aggro here. CISS. Let's see if this has news. And you just distracted me from talking about robotic stocks. I was trying to have like a normal conversation here, but you, holy crap, 25% short float. This looks like could be a short squeeze. Could be what's going on here. Oh, it's based in Greece. I don't see too many Greek stocks. Interesting. No recent news. Had a reverse stock split. Oh, maybe that's what it is. It says effective today. So that could be what's going on. Combined with a short squeeze. Okay. Seems kind of tricky to trade, but we're going to write down some levels anyways. CISS had a recent high of 712 and 780 and 1062. So we could see those levels. It's at 413 right now after making a 57% move. Wait, did I tell you to write B in the chat? Why are you guys writing B? Steva says he's a real man. Andrew's a real man. Yes. Well said, Oso. He says, behind every great man is a great woman. Women always rule the family at the end of the day. I would actually argue with that and say that behind every great woman is a man, because men should be behind women. Just saying. Just saying. You guys think that's a good username, do you? I don't. I'm actively trying to remove him. I can't remove him. Why are you guys putting random letters in the chat that I didn't tell you to do? Hold on one second. That time I did mean to mute. Okay. Oh, that's way too much work. Just checking the chat. There is sound. I muted it a minute ago because I was looking something up. I'm just checking the chat right now. All right, let's get back to, hold on one second. Okay, guess I can't get rid of that. Paxton says you look extra pretty today. Thank you for that. All right, CISS, let's see. And I also want to check YJ because this is moving back up a little bit. As I've said, this is a little bit of a riskier trade since it did, yeah. Tricky. I'm not trading it yet. It could make another move, but it is much more risky at this point in time. I will say the only thing that does have going for it is that it had a pullback as predicted at market open, but it did not crash. It's holding up and it's starting to go back up. So that is a positive sign for YJ. James says you're hot. Thank you for that. What is this operation here? Well, we are currently day trading. We're looking at YJ, trying to decide if we're going to get in it or not. What was this? 464, 472. I'm undecided. I think I'm going to let it close out this 5-minute candle and then go from there. Clayton, we are talking about stocks. We are currently day trading. And, oh, Frank just watched my video. What did he say? Aw. Frank just left a comment on the video I just posted yesterday about my Northeast road trip, and he said, absolutely awesome video, thoroughly enjoyed the trip, the scenery, and the food. How nice. I appreciate that because I put a lot of time into that video. GOSS, somebody is talking about in the chat. Let's see, GOSS. This guy predicted a stock the other day that went crazy, so I'm definitely going to check it out. He was right about that one. This is only a 15-cent stock, though. You know, I don't like that. I don't like stocks that are that cheap. I do trade penny stocks. A penny stock is considered anything under $3. I think it should be under $1, but technically it's under $3. Somebody is talking about GOSS, and this person predicted a stock that went crazy the other day. So I'm just going to keep it on the back burner. I'm just going to put it on the chart here. Let's look at some recent levels. And it would definitely have to pick up in volume because the volume is, I guess not too bad, actually. Not too bad. It is picking up. It is below the 200 EMA. So I'd like to see it above the 200 EMA. And then I'll think about it. In the meantime, YJ. Oh, YJ is coming up. All right, we're doing YJ. It's looking good. See, I waited for strength before I took the trade. That's important when the stock has pulled back. And also not going to be doing a super large position. We're going to go easy and take a small position. We're going to do that much. Yes, that's good. Okay. We're in it to win it, as they say. Took a small position in YJ. I am still not at my goal for the day as far as how much I want to make. So we will continue to trade. But when I have a loss, then I'm going to stop. And that is the thing that I am working on, because I told you I have a problem with over trading. So as long as I'm making money, that's okay. But if I have a loss, then it's time to stop. We don't want to spiral. No, we don't. Hello, Siobhan. I'm doing tea today. I have peach tea. It's delicious. It's a little, let's see. It's a little cold, but you know, it's hot here, so I don't mind drinking cold tea. It doesn't have to be hot tea. Jake says, do you have an OF? Sorry, but they seem quite big. I do have OF and other adult platforms, but I don't post any nude content whatsoever. So if you're trying to see any topless content, you will not find that on the internet. And if you do, it's not me, it's AI. I don't do nude content or topless. Now, if you're here to see pictures of my feet, or you like to be humiliated, then you will enjoy my content. If you're trying to get nudie pics, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Very disappointed. But you know what? Maybe I like disappointing men. It's a hobby of mine. Hello, Scorpy. James wants to marry me. There we are. Got the first marriage proposal of the day. How big is my ring, James? That's what I need to know. How big is the ring? Level 2 does not look that great on YJ right now, but I do like that high volume green candle on the 5-minute chart. I think we need to get above this high, $5. We need to break $5. I think that's what we need. We'll see what happens here. I think I'm going to take another little position. I'm hoping this is a pullback. I'm hoping it is. We'll find out. Good, I filled. All right, I'm in. So let's move on up. I'm ready. And if it doesn't move up, I'm gonna get out. Sib, I saw you just now. I see you, if that's the same person. I'm guessing it is. Nope, it's coming back down. Yuzu, I don't know if you're talking about stocks or if you're making an inappropriate comment, but you better clarify with a quickness if you want to keep talking on this channel. All right, we've got 1 minute and 9 seconds left on this 5-minute candle. Let's see what it does. Watching, waiting. Oh, I thought I took a bigger position. This is tiny. That's probably actually good because it's going the wrong way. I took a really tiny position. Okay, we're going to take another little nugget. There. We'll see what happens. 13 seconds. WXM is on the scanner. Let's pull it up. I don't know what RDAC is doing. We're going to move that one. WXM. And I really have to pee on another note. No, I don't like that. Doesn't look like it's moving. Let me go back to Red Dragon or Rising Dragon, whatever the hell it is. Rising Dragon. Well, I was wrong about YJ halting so far. Not saying it still won't happen, but Rising Dragon is going a little nuts. Let me look at that chart. RDAC, Rising Dragon Acquisition Company, had a high of $22. Let me check a 4-hour chart, see if we have any other highs. Look, oh yes, 26.64. 26.64. What about besides that? Nothing. Okay, that is the high. Oh, we could see a blue sky setup here. Hello, dragon. I see you. Good morning. Look at you and your little super chat. How cute. It's adorable. Khalid says, yo, what are you doing in the live? Seriously. Not talking to you, that's for sure. Bye. Oops. I am currently day trading. But maybe, you know, you don't know what I'm talking about if I'm calling out tickers and talking about companies. It's also in the title of the chat. I guess you could have just looked at that, but instead you're being obnoxious. So, Nigel says Red Dragon was a pretty good movie. Maybe that's what I was thinking about when I said Red Dragon, because it's Rising Dragon is the name of this stock. Rising Dragon Acquisition Corporation, Chinese. Hello, Brandon. Tiger, if you would like to do a session, you can approach properly by excuse me, hairball, sending my initial tribute, which is $50, and you will need to verify that you're over 18. I'm not going to do a session with you right here in my chat. Good morning, Jason. It's always funny to me when submissives come in the chat and they try to manipulate and trick me into doing like a free session with them. It's not going to work. And it's honestly very irritating because it's disrespectful. If you're not willing to pay for a session, then I don't know, maybe that works with other people and that's why they do it. Hello, Matthew from Ireland. James has not, I have not answered his marriage proposal. He offered a 4-carat ring. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. Scorpy sent a $5 for a he sent a $5 super chat for a wheel spin. Yes, let's do it. First wheel spin of the day. Scorpy loves the wheel, don't you? Scorpy loves the wheel, but you know, last time he had to pay $200, so he's back for more. He likes it. Here we go. Let's see where we're gonna go. All right, Scorpy, you landed on a $20 tribute is what Scorpy landed on. Scorpy likes being my little bitch. He said it, not me. See? Brandon loves watching the wheel. Maybe one day you'll spin it. Andrew says, so if one would appear with a large carat ring, you'd contemplate the proposal? I never said that. I never said that. Look, people, you don't think that I've ever met men who want to marry me in real life? I've never actually had somebody offer me a ring, probably because they knew that they'd be turned down. Yes. There's Scorpy's $20 tribute. And he bows at my feet. What a good little bitch. He's a good boy. I always think of Scorpy, like, I don't know why. I think maybe I've mentioned this to you before, but I always think of you as like my dog for some reason. I don't even know if you're into pet play, but for some reason, I think of you as my dog. Dragon says, I'm beautiful. Thank you for that. And he loves being called my little bitch. Brian says, can we get an outfit check? No. Philip says, she just called you a bitch. He was calling himself my little bitch before I said anything. Can we make that very clear? He said it first. James says, how do I send a photo of me? Look, I have lots of people who email me and message me on all my platforms every day. I do not respond or even look at messages or emails if they don't accompany or have a $25 tribute attached to 25? No, $50 tribute. I had a brain fart. Attached to them. Okay, I just had somebody who's a regular speaker on this channel, I'm not going to name names, who sent me a very lengthy email with, I don't know, 10 or 20 different photos and some other shit attached to it. I didn't read one sentence of that email because he knows better. He knows better. It's disrespectful. Toilet Slave says, fart in my face. Toilet Slave, I will not fart in your face, but what I would like is I would like to do an interview with you for my channel. If you have the balls to do that. Toilet Slave, are you going to do an interview for my channel so we can talk about your kink? I'm very curious. I'm not going to partake, but I would like to interview you. If you have balls. Depends. Oh, he does in fact have those balls. Excellent. Toilet Slave, email me and we can set up an interview. I have time today, actually. I did an interview actually yesterday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Toilet Slave, my email is fiorethegoddess@gmail.com. You are the only person who has permission to email me without tribute because I would like to interview you. The Ink says toilet slave. That's good. He's literally a toilet slave. That's not a joke. I don't think it's a joke. For most people, it's not. He probably really does want me to fart in his face, don't you? Actually, that's a whole kink. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there are people who enjoy... There's content that you can go look up, women farting. Like, that's a whole thing. I don't understand it, but I respect it. If that's your thing, you know what? You do whatever makes you happy. The Anka also says, I want to be mommy's toilet paper. All right. You know, I'm not a real fan of toilet slaves, but I guess we have those in the chat today. Type a T in the chat if you are a toilet slave or you would do that kink. I'm just curious. I will not do it with you. I will not partake, but I'm just curious. You can type a T in the chat if you have a toilet kink. James is still trying to propose to me and asking what kind of wedding I like. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. It's not really a priority in my life. Philip is dead. These are real people. Philip, go watch my interviews that I've done. Go watch the interviews I've done. They are indeed real people. Cloudy Boy says he hasn't fallen that far yet. He says, I haven't fallen well. You should have put yet. Scorpy is not touching this part of the chat with a 20-foot pole. I'm okay with that. You know how I feel. Swahan enjoys toilet kink. He makes that very clear. Andrew's back. You're just in time for, I don't know what. And James is still trying to throw money at me. Fantasy money, not like real money. Andrew's wondering what the T is. Who wants to explain it to him? James offers to buy me a Porsche. And what did you say? A 3 carat or 4 carat ring? What was it? I want both. You can send it. You can. Hold on. Oh my God. That was violent. James says, it's not fantasy. I'm rich in Australia. Okay, well, prove it. I have a Bitcoin wallet. Go put some Bitcoin in my wallet or send a super chat here. You know, I worked in clubs for 5 years. And if you're a woman watching this or someone who wants to get into financial domination or any other type of spicy work, I'm just letting you know that there are men out there who kind of like get off on like talking like they have money, but they don't actually have any money, and they can sound very convincing. But as the owner of the last club I worked at says, money talks, bullshit walks. James says, how much? $500. To start. That's your starting. To demonstrate that you are what you say you are. If you're rich, that's nothing. Andrew says, oh, I'm poor and I know I am. He knows you're not poor. Shut up. Paxton says, I just want to be a pampered video assistant. Maybe one day, Paxton, but you have to prove yourself first. Kamal says, give me a funny challenge and I will filming it and send it to you. What the fuck have you done for me? You haven't, Kamal, you haven't sent tribute. You think my tasks are free? They're not. They're not. Philip says, James, you better not do it. Philip, go watch my 2.7K drain. Paxton is announcing that he would be such a good assistant. Brandon says, my goddess, when will you do hypnosis again? It helps me sleep. Well, I'll do it when I get around to it, but you know, you could always do a hypnosis session. I do like video calls for hypnosis. Fabo says I have beautiful hands. Okay. What was I going to say? I am still in YJ. It's just kind of consolidating right now. It didn't drop. It didn't pop. So we'll see what happens. I'm waiting. I am supposed to be going live on my fitness channel, Fit with Fiore, at 11. I might be a little bit late since I am still trading. Scorpio says, you drained somebody for your almost $3,000 once. That's highly impressive. Philip says, beautiful hands. Who the fuck says that? I got nothing. James, you said you were going to send $500. He says, when I know where you are, you can meet me at the airport. I will be there with my 4 carat ring and what size band. Well, look, if you want to continue this conversation, you can start with the $500 send. You said you're rich. Finally, a normal comment, question, BTS, Smitty, we're going to call you, says, what's your target sell on YJ? Well, I have this trend line, so I would be, let me expand it. So, nope, I don't want to go that way, this way. It got to the trend line here both times and got rejected. So ideally, I'd love to see, you know, something around here, and then it would probably get rejected again. It's possible it could break through, but not likely. So I would say that my sell would be somewhere around $8 or so, $8.70. I probably wouldn't put it all the way up here because it may not get all the way there. But I don't know. It's not looking that great right now. Let me see what the 15-minute chart looks like. Yeah. I mean, it's holding VWAP. That blue line right here is VWAP. my stop loss would be right here. Low of 392 would be my stop loss. But it was looking good right here, but then it's kind of pulling back again. I don't like that too much. So I'm just going to kind of wait and see if it breaks through this high of $5, if it breaks $5, or it looks like it's getting kind of close to VWAP and my stop loss though. I'm going to have this as my stop loss. It's 392. Let's see if I can turn the camera around without hitting the mute button for a change. A lot of pressure in the chat for James to send $25. James, you can send super chats right here on YouTube. You could send a super chat right here in the chat. I also have links in my bio if you're going to do the Bitcoin wallet. I can't rattle off my whole Bitcoin wallet in this chat. Plus, YouTube doesn't like that. People are wondering if you even have $5 to send. There seems to be some doubt of whether you are actually what and who you say you are. So I think it might be time to prove yourself. Frank says, I personally don't use stop losses. I don't use, when I first started, I used like true stop losses, and I was losing a lot of money that way. So I do like a mental stop loss, because sometimes it'll get to the stop loss and it'll go right back up. So I don't like getting caught in a stop loss. That's usually what I do, is just have like a mental stop loss. Ooh, more pressure. Scorpio says, yeah, I sent and I'm not a rich sub. I think James might have tucked tail and left. He hasn't responded in a while. Or maybe he's trying to figure out how to add his card information into YouTube. I don't know. Dragon says so many tabs. Are you talking about my computer? Oh yeah, I've got like a million freaking tabs open. I think a lot of these YouTube ones are when I was like pulling up a video on my YouTube studio, so I could probably delete some of those. But anyways. Scorpio says, like you said, bullshit walks. I speak truth, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You think this is the first time I've come across a man who acts like he has lots of money? Some men just like to feel important and get the attention that they would if they had money, so that's why they do that. It's not rocket science. But like I said, some men can sound very convincing. Fabo says, you talk like a school marm. Do you work at a school? No, I don't work at a school. I actually have worked in schools. I'm not a teacher. Legend says, I knew it was off when he said carrots instead of carrots. Scorpio says, I'm just repeating what she said like her little parrot. My little puppy parrot. Just the truth. You do speak just the truth. I agree with you 100%. And he says, to be fair, many men don't get any attention and become desperately lonely. Yes, it's called the male loneliness epidemic. That came out wrong. You are 100% correct. And this is why many men go into clubs. And how I made the majority of my money when I worked in clubs was just sitting and talking to men who were lonely. And a lot of them, I can see why they have to pay to talk to somebody. Let's just say that. Oh. Andrew says, no need to make things up. If broke and small, just admit it. Well, see, here's the thing about a lot of men in particular. I would say that this is much more geared towards men. There's probably some women that do this as well, but I feel like there's such a pressure on men to be manly, to be the provider, to, you know, play that role, that a lot of men can't handle it and they crumple. I personally think that the majority of men are less psychologically, lack psychological strength compared to women. You can be angry at me for saying that or disagree with me, but I would say in my lifetime, that's what I've noticed. And a lot of men can't handle the pressure. So, just saying. What was I looking at? CDTG? Yes. Let's see here. CDTG. YJ is getting dangerously close to my stop loss, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's rude. It's actually quite rude. Now, if we could just get a VWAP bounce, I'd be happy with that. But if this turd falls below VWAP, I'm going to be pissed. Watching very closely. Yeah. All right. I'll give it a second, see if it comes back up. It did do a little dip. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I don't have stop losses. It just dipped below. It would have hit my stop loss, but now it's coming back up. So I'm going to stay in it. This is exactly why I don't do stop losses. And I'm saying, I would say if you're new that you should do them, but this happens a lot where it dips a little bit and then it comes back up. So I'm actually going to wait. Oh, this is a 15-minute candle. Let's look at a 5-minute candle. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the same length of time for both. We've got 2 minutes left on this 15-minute and 5-minute candle. So I also look at that too, like where the candle's actually closing. Maybe it'll dip, but then it'll close above VWAP. So we're watching that too. Frank says, I can tell you some crazy stuff about stop losses. Please, by all means. I'm waiting. Just the Truth says, that's not fair either, just because most women always have a safety net that men do not have. What does that mean? Why would a woman have a safety net over a man? And I'm not talking about financial. We were talking about the mental stability, psychological strength of men is what I was talking about. Oh, maybe I missed part of the comments here. Ew. Fabo, how dare you ask that question? You ask shit like that again, you're gonna be gone off the channel. Bronze says, why don't you keep me with yourself? I'll tell you when they be hunting your stop loss and when not. What does that even mean? Just the Truth says, number one reason for men's mental instability is money, and I would disagree with that. You know, a lot of men can be struggling with how they're perceived as a man because of, we talk about a lot on this channel, and sometimes it's their size, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you can have all the money in the world, but you have you know, your bank account might be big, but if something else is tiny, then you still might be very insecure. Women don't need money for attention. No, they don't. Philip says, a woman always has a safety net. I don't have a safety net. What would be my safety net? That's a silly thing to say. If you're talking about women always have a financial safety net, that's not true at all. Scorpio says, how much would a virtual session cost? I don't discuss my rates publicly. So if you want to message me and we can discuss that. But Scorpio, I know you're not a rich sub and I don't want you to overspend. So we can talk about that more in a private conversation, but I don't want you to overextend yourself. Good morning, Travis. Exactly. Legend says you can have 6+ zeros in the bank, but it won't make up for 4 inches in your pants. That's what I was talking about. Jack says, hi, ma'am, greetings at your feet. I will say, with that being said, though, that for some women, that is what it is all about. There are some women who are all about money and they don't care about the size of your pants. What's in your pants? But, you know, having all that money does not change the fact if you're small. How's that? Ooh, my tummy is rumbling. It's time to eat. Frank says, okay, I'm not giving advice. I'm simply about stating my opinion. It is possible that they know where your stop losses are, and those candles will usually go below that number to hit the stop losses. Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I cannot say for sure whether that is true or not. But I do see people in chats talking a lot about stop loss hunting. I always thought that that meant more that people were kind of like feeling around for stop losses. I don't know if they can actually see them. You know, I don't claim to know everything about trading, so that's something I don't know. You could be right. Philip says, who cares what's in your pants? Women do. I can promise you that. Jack says, left my work to watch you, ma'am. Probably more useful. Well, I hope you're still making money because, you know, I don't want you watching me and not making money, because you should be sending me that money. Hello, Anthony. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. By the way, a couple things and then I have to run. Somebody sent a $130 gift yesterday. I checked all my platforms. I did not see any messages from anybody claiming that. So if it was you, please send me a screenshot with the transaction number so I can know if it was you or not. Don't be one of the losers that's always on here trying to claim that they sent and they didn't, because I will know the difference. There's it was something off my throne for a mani-pedi. Let me see something really quick. Yeah, somebody bought something off my throne wish list for $130. Oh. And Paul just sent me a coffee. Are you in the chat here, Paul? Or is this just a random person? And to the person who says, Goddess, I'm 29, want to be your sub, please, begging you, with no tribute, you will not be getting a response from me. Scorpio says, dang, thought that was mine. Hey, there's nothing wrong with somebody paying for my manicure and pedicure 2 or 3 times. That's normal. And what was I going to say? You know, it's not like I'm never going to get one again. I get them every few weeks. Yes, Scorpio did already pay for my next manicure and pedicure, for sure. But somebody else paid for one as well. That's okay. You can pay for it 3 times. Pay for it 10 times. I'll just use the money towards something else. Hello, Ben. Philip says James wants to contribute. Is James the one that was talking about the ring that disappeared already? I forgot already. Was that his name? Yeah. Well, I think he's long gone. He was just talking like he had money, but he didn't. He has nothing. Typical. Typical loser behavior. Just saying. So yes, if whoever sent that and sees this and you sent me a message I did not respond to, please message me again, because I have not seen a message from that person. I just don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring them if they sent something. Now, sometimes people silently send, and you can always do that. You can always just send something just to send, if that makes you feel good, to support and provide for me. And that might be what it was. I'm not sure. What was I going to say? Yes, and then if you haven't seen my new video yet, my travel video, I made a video of the 5 weeks that I was on my trip. You need to go watch that. Philip says she needs it. Help her out, guys. What are you talking about? And just a reminder to be respectful. If you're going to be rude, I'm just going to kick you out of the chat. All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna go make some breakfast, and I might do a workout stream shortly if I can get out of this trade. I'm still waiting to see what's gonna happen with YJ. Dragon says, how does it make you feel every time you get a send? Powerful, obviously. It tells me that I have control over you. And we both like that, don't we? BIVI is on my scanner too, by the way. But I really have to pee, and I'm also very hungry. My tummy is grumbling. So here we go then. I will be back at 8:30-ish tomorrow morning.